does inspire some hope. Jason.
Hope. This is what we're doing now. Sony ain't even guaranteed good games anymore. All they can do is hope.
Blundell. Now, if you're a Call of Duty hater or a Call of Duty lover, undeniably it is massive. And the reason Call of Duty is as big as it is today is for a large margin because of Treyarch, one of the early studios that not just made good Call of Duties, but they made it annualized. There are multiple Call of Duty is the creator of Call of Duty Zombies.
Really? So he made one mode? you giving him that much credit? All you was doing was boarding up walls. Like, bro. Oh, it was so innovative. I mean, come on, man. We had games like Left 4 Dead, Dead Island that were way more ambitious than a zombie mode that this dude helped come up with, man. Now, I'm not saying that did not help put Call of Duty on the map in some ways, but come on, man. Really? I mean, this dude made one mode for one game, and y'all out here giving the man credit like, oh, he about to do the same thing for us. Man, like I said, man, that's all y'all got is hope.
To say that Blundell is important, that he's influential, that he's smart, I think that's an understatement.
He's so smart that he made a mode where you can't leave the area and all you have to do is board up things with wooden planks, bro. Yeah, that's so innovative. You out here giving this man credit for that? For coming up with a mode for Call of Duty? Bro, man, that's no different than a horde mode, bro. What is so special about playing Call of Duty World at War? Now, I'm not saying that the zombie mode is bad. All I'm saying, what makes that so innovative? You're in a linear path. All you do is board up the same walls. You could probably access new areas, and that's it. What makes this game, what makes the mode so special? Even when Call of Duty was at its heyday, with Call of Duty Zombies, I never really seen the appeal to it, to be honest with you. I mean, especially when you had better games like Dead Rising, Dead Island, which all had online multiplayer, in fully open world environments. What made this so special?
I'm also excited about the fact that, in a lot of ways, I'm hoping this means the guy actually gets the game out the door. But here's the part of it that honestly fills me with so much dread. Dark Outlaw Games is currently recruiting staff, and Blundell is the PlayStation 6 prototype is done to some degree.
Wow, we already talked about the PlayStation 6, man. The PS5 barely even had anything this generation, and we already moving on to the PlayStation 6. Yeah, the PS5 is by far one of PlayStation's worst next generation consoles.
They're working on the technology of it, but it sounds like the PlayStation 6 is coming in 2028.
Yeah, but for some reason, you people went out there and picked up the PS5 Pro. You spent $800 on something that will be obsolete in the next few upcoming years. How embarrassing.
Here's the way. So it does kind of suck when a lot of us are still kind of saying, okay, I like my PlayStation. I'm playing a lot of games on my PlayStation, but where is the big stuff? Where is the PlayStation games on my PlayStation?
Well, you see, it's so funny that you guys sit there and say, it's only the Xbox community saying it. I mean, it's gotten to the point where even PlayStation gamers are coming out in a mitigate. I mean, even Gamer23 is like, man, you suckers, if y'all still on this console war stuff at the age of 40, 50 years old, there's something wrong with you. I mean, the man even went out there and picked up a PC for crying out loud. I mean, just admit it, you PlayStation fanboys have lost. This so-called console war that you guys keep holding on to, well, guess what? It is over. Nobody cares. Just go back and play games on no matter what platform you want to enjoy games on. It's not that serious.
So the fact that they're basically gearing up for PlayStation 6 games, it does feel a bit odd. But I did notice that a lot of people are like, okay, is it going to be the standard PlayStation exclusive? People make this meme a lot. And
Game still with another W. Didn't I talk about this in one of my previous videos about how all these PlayStation games have the same third-person narrative perspective? I mean, come on, bro. I mean, it's gotten to the point where the games play identically the same.
People hate on it. I like the PlayStation template. I like third-person narrative experiences. I like all the sappy dad stories about figuring out how to show your emotions and stuff. I don't know. I'm a sucker for that formula. And
Well,
yeah,
there's a reason as to why people don't care for these games anymore, man. Because to be honest with you, people are getting tired of it. What is the point of having Uncharted, Gears of War, and Last of Us, if all, or even Horizon, if all your games are going to play identically the same? Which also means that most people are not going to go out there and buy them, considering that they like, okay, well, I can get the same experience just by playing the same games I have already, and that probably explains all these remasters and remakes you people have been getting.
it's gotten stale a bit because they just do it and do it and do it. But I do appreciate a lot of the storytelling that Sony has done in the past. But here's the thing. I'm so fascinated by the fact that are we actually going to see a game this time? I'm going to have to assume this is going to be another live service game.
Well, there you go, Porter Rock. I guess you was wrong again. You know, Sony must have realized that they ain't trying to do the live service and subscription just to find out from Dweem Scourge guy that that's what they might continue to still do. Oh, well, seems like Porter Rock was wrong again.
Despite the fact that PlayStation publicly is acting like they're kind of winding down their big push towards everything being live service, I think it's pretty obvious that this is 99% chance going to be a Call of Duty style game.
Uh-oh.
Now, I did notice people saying, okay, welcome to the family. Okay, family. Okay, great. So it's going to be another new studio, another live service, another game that bombs, another game that gets canceled, and another studio that closes. I've played these games before. God, I love Squid Games. I am still saying that this could end up being very, very cool.
Oh, really?
I feel like the biggest part of it that does work for me is the fact that this is a Treyarch head. I feel like a lot of times
that doesn't mean anything.
These studios do hiring, whether it is what Microsoft hoping that this is something actually ambitious. I do hope that it's not just SOCOM, although I would be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you do get that game, it's going to fail. I really do feel, right, that for Sony to succeed, for their live service and subscription games, they need to do what Microsoft is doing and put them on every single platform. That's my personal opinion, but even then, it's still going to pale in comparison to all the other live service and subscription games we have already. Until those games die out, then maybe Sony or whoever can see new success with the new projects that they got coming out.
See something completely new. Now, I did see this. So this is the second time that Blundell has done this. Tim talked about this in multiple videos now, but people are competing for idea space.
And you're not going to get it in today's gaming landscape because, like I've said before, people are comfortable already in what they're playing. So regardless if this game is a new Killzone, it could be, like I've said before, it could be the greatest game in the world. And guess what? People still won't play it. All because they're so focused on playing GTA 6, the next NBA 2K, Madden, college football, you know the games. They're so caught up playing in what they're already enjoying that it's not going to gravitate towards them. It is what it is.
It does feel like everybody is fighting to get noticed, to get heard, to get money, right? Everybody's fighting for those clicks, for the installs, for the microtransactions. Making a live service game, it's difficult. It's incredibly hard to even get going for 30 days. I mean, what is that game? Spectre Divide just recently failed, and that game was out for less than a year.
Well, at least it was more than Concord. That only lasted 2 weeks.
They spent $30 million on a game called Spectre.
And Concord spent $400 million, but according to Porter Rock, PlayStation wasn't hurt.
Divide. It was like
that didn't hurt PlayStation.
Like a Counter-Strike knockoff. They spent $30 million on it in 1 year and didn't make a damn penny back. I'm in a space where this talent, I hope it starts as a tight Call of Duty knockoff.
If it's a Call of Duty knockoff, the game is guaranteed to fail. What are you talking about, bro? The last Call of Duty knockoff that we had, which to a lot of people was quite a good game, was X Defiant. And that game flopped on his ass. What are you talking about?
I'm in a space where this talent, I hope it starts as a tight Call of Duty knockoff.
Oh, well, they better start digging the grave now. Guys, get the shovels, start digging in these new games. If you want it to be a Call of Duty ripoff clone, well, you already guaranteed the game's failure. You really think that this game's going to compete with what Microsoft had? To a lot of people, X-Defiant was better. To a lot of people, better than Call of Duty, and that game still failed. Because you know why? It didn't matter. Because it just doesn't have that household name. People are buying games solely off nostalgia and the names that they've had. That is it. Think about it. The Rainbow Six, the Counter-Strikes, the World of Warcrafts. I mean, yeah, you got a few new ones. Fortnite. These are big names. Grand Theft Auto. These are names that have been popular for what? For over 20 to 30 years? You get what I'm saying? So clearly there's some nostalgia or people just playing off the brand recognition or the name to a lot of these games. Because to be honest with you, there's not really a lot of new games that come out of the woodwork that people are gravitating towards. They're not.
There's just a really good, really competent, really fun shooter, and then later on they go, okay, now we're going to try season passes. Now we're going to do microtransactions.
Well, guess what? It's going to be just like X-Defiant, and the game is going to fail. Because X-Defiant would be... And literally, I thought they even had people that worked on Call of Duty work on that game too, bro. The fact that you want this new Sony studio to make a Call of Duty clone goes to show you that you don't even know how the market is. You really think it's going to compete with Call of Duty. Even if it's better than Call of Duty, it still won't outsell it. What do you people don't understand? Especially if Sony's trying to lock it behind a platform.
Sell the game first before you sell the service. But these just been some off the cuff.
What? You want them to buy? Bro, listen, bro. They did the same thing with Concord, and guess what? Nobody bought the game. The only way this game is going to have success, somewhat remotely, if it's free to play. How is Sony going to charge $60, $70 for essentially a Call of Duty clone that you're saying when people are playing Warzone entirely for free? People already got access to loads and loads of Call of Duties. What are you talking about, bro? You really think the avid Call of Duty fans are going to try out this new Sony Call of Duty clone game they got? I'm telling you, they're not. It's done. Get their graveyard. Get the tombstone. Start digging it 6 feet already, because that's exactly where your game is going.
How do you feel about another PlayStation studio that hopefully...
Keyword. That's sad that when we talk about a company, we have to use terms like hopefully, because we already know the game's going to flop. Just be honest, man. There's nothing Sony could do to take away the power and the structure that Microsoft has full control over. And that's even on your own platform. But like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This is what video games have become, man. This is why, to a lot of adamant gamers, we really just don't care. We go back and play retro games to a time that, where we was cherished and remembered, and they made games for us, because clearly they're not making games for us. It is what it is, man. You guys can sit there and cap and deny and ignore that. I really do feel that Microsoft, the reason why we're seeing Fable and Perfect Dark is because Game Pass is guaranteeing them that success. So no matter if only 200,000 people play the new Perfect Dark, we're happy and the casuals are happy. So everybody's eating. But the fact that you believe that Sony should sell the game for $60 to $70, bro, you have to ask yourself, whatever it is called, Call of Sony versus Call of Duty, right? They come out at similar times. One's $60, $70 on PlayStation 5, and the other, Call of Sony, is $60, $70 on PS. Even if they undercutted themselves, what game do you think they're gonna buy? Which game do you think are they gonna buy? Call of Duty, or are they gonna buy Call of Sony? They're gonna buy Call of Duty automatically. You people know this. Even on your own platform, ain't nobody picking up Call of Sony, bro. Sony has a better chance bringing back Killzone or SOCOM and putting those games on Xbox, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC. Put that game in as many platforms as you can to, gravitate and, get some money. Because I really do feel with the Switch audience, they don't have those type of games. Trying to appeal to people like Xbox or PC gamers that have access to tons of games like that is not going to work for them. But I do feel, considering I'm not saying Nintendo don't have online games, I know they do, but when I'm telling you, catering to a market that doesn't really have those games might be more beneficial to Sony. Let me explain. If they put SOCOM Killzone, which, if you think about it, Nintendo does have online games, but they don't have online games up to that level. If Sony did that for the Switch too, then yes, I think they could be successful. Even Nintendo gamers might jump onto it and be like, oh, this is kind of cool. But you're appealing to a market, or should I say an audience, of people that already are playing these games. It's stupid. Why would people care about the next Call of Duty clone from Sony when they got like 20 to 100,000, well, not 100,000, hundreds of other Call of Duty clones on the Xbox and PC that nobody ain't playing? What would make people gravitate towards that? The only market where Sony can succeed in that regard, is Nintendo Switch, because they don't have games up to that level. Do you guys get what I'm saying? But hey, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Take care.